But I think just creativity in general, you know, just doing what you want is so important. Doing what you feel is right and what connects with you is important. And I know that might be, cliche, trite, corny, sappy, whatever you want to say. But, one of the coolest things about what I'm experiencing right now, as far as people responding to the songs I wrote and what I decided to do, is that it really is me. It's so when people say they with it, it's like they with me, and that feels cool.
Today is the 10th anniversary of Frank Ocean's seminal project, and his last project as of this recording, called Blonde. There's a reason why we still talk about this great project and his other two previous projects so much to this day. It reminds me of Oscar Wilde. I don't know who Oliver is. Oscar Wilde quote that says, "You should be yourself because everyone else is taken." Oscar Wilde says, "You should be yourself because everyone else is taken." In other words, you can only be you. And there's been so many sayings about this over the years, and there's a reason for that. See, I've been a coach for about a decade, so I started around the time that Blonde came out, so 2016, and coached hundreds of folks. The roughest situation that people are in as entrepreneurs, and a lot of y'all can identify with this maybe, is when you have big success and it wasn't really you. You go viral because you're trying to go viral, or you're doing some type of energy thing and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll show up this particular way or that particular way. And then it takes off. That's a real curse. Because then the people that are rocking with you under some false pretense. What Frank talks about is showing up as himself. So then the people that buy his album or stream his album or go to his concerts or get his merch or whatever, they're actually rocking with him. Not with an image, not with a mask. There's two big reasons why you should really work on being yourself with whatever you're creating. And creating means entrepreneurship. Creating means traditional artists, where you're doing, paintings and stuff like that. It could be music, whatever you're doing. Being your authentic self as much as possible, particularly when you're going independent, is crucial for two big reasons. The first thing is what I call the Lighthouse effect. Now, my friend Nilofer Merchant talks about this. It's actually in her book, The Power of Onlyness. Highly recommend it. And I call it the Lighthouse effect. If you dress a certain way, if you show up a certain way, then you're going to be attracting people based on that signaling, as she calls it. And we're signaling all the time. If you're dressed like a preppy, like Carlton from the Fresh Prince sitcom, if you want to think about that, or, if you're dressed like someone who's goth, like you want to think about, like a trendy witch from the 1990s, with the black clothing and the mascara and all that stuff, the dark mascara. That's going to attract a certain type of community, a certain type of friend, a certain type of people that you're going to connect with, because you have a certain shared value based on what you're signaling, based on what I call the lighthouse effect. But if your lighthouse is all the way over here, but on the inside you're really over here, it doesn't work. It's mixed signaling. You ever connect with someone and then you get to know them a little bit and you're like, you're nothing like I thought you would be like? That's mixed signaling. That's the lighthouse effect of going wrong. If you get your success, get your fame, get your money, the things that you're hoping for, based on this signal over here, but the work you really want to do is over here, that pivot is hard. And I'm sure you can think about artists, musicians, creators who came in on one particular wave and then tried to do something new, and then they lost you and the rest of their audience. That doesn't mean you can't pivot, but it doesn't mean that you can't have different layers to your creativity. What it means is that you want to be as authentic as possible with what you're signaling out here. This show with Bring Your Worth TV, if you were to bump into me when I was having a speaking engagements, I was on stage, or if I knew you personally and we grabbed a drink or something, I would have the same energy. That's on purpose. So number one, when you understand that lighthouse effect, you're able to build that audience that really rocks with you, as Frank Ocean says, for who you are. The second part of it is that you do not need to carry a mask. I'm going to repeat that again. You do not need to carry a mask. I'm really into the hip hop community. I used to write for Double XL and The Source and a lot of the classic hip hop magazines, particularly in the early aughts and late 90s. And so I love hip hop. I can talk about hip hop all day. And there's an idea that we have in there called perpetrating a fraud. In other words, you're fronting, saying that you're a particular way, but you're actually another way. The thing is that you have to carry that mask. So if you're a tough guy or gal all the time, but you're actually soft and sensitive on the inside, that means you need to be tough when you're at the events, when you're in the videos, right? When you appear on stage. You have to be that the whole time. If you study artists like I do, or even if you have a favorite artist, some of them will talk about the weight of celebrity. The weight of celebrity isn't just people following you around and the paparazzi and, people DMing you randomly on social media. It's also the weight of you having a particular image, you being calcified like a dinosaur. Being calcified in stone in that image, and you always have to have that image. You think of Taylor Swift, you think of Drake, you think of Kendrick Lamar, you think of Post Malone, you think of a lot of the major artists of this particular time. And you can probably name their particular quote-unquote image in a few words. For some of them, that image actually matches who they are, which makes it a hell of a lot easier. For others, the vibe doesn't match. And that's why I think it's so important to listen to some of the stuff that Frank Ocean's talking about in this brief interview clip, as well as some of the other work that I talk about here on this channel. Because the pattern that you're going to see here is that there are artists, there are creators, entrepreneurs, again, traditional artists, so forth, who are being themselves as much as possible. And in being themselves as much as possible, they find success, and more importantly, they find community, and they find an outlet. And the closer they're able to be, the closer you're able to be to expressing yourself in the way that you think you need to vibrate in the rest of the world, what's truest to you, the closer you're going to be able to have a good, long, and likely successful career. I've been in the game for a few decades now. The reason I've been able to do that, the reason that other folks have been able to do that, is because we're creating things authentically based on how we show up in the world, based on how we view the world, based on how we think the world needs to receive us. Not based on acceptance, but based on the light that's within us. And that's something, as Oscar Wilde said, can't be duplicated. You should be yourself because everyone else is taken. Run with Frank Ocean's advice. He's got some serious success, and he was doing it being himself. Being somebody else, that might get you a top 10 hit and it might get you some viral success for the day, but particularly nowadays, that's not worth much. Do you want to play the long game, or do you want to be some meme from 2016? Keep creating, stop listening to me, and go to work. And remember, always be yourself.